Alright, today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at another emulation home console. Picked up this from Amazon. Retail prices anywhere from $100 to $130 depending on what size file you get. This is the fully loaded 256 gigabyte, has over 48,000 games, I think it is, at least that's what they're claiming. Just looking at the console itself, very small, fits in the palm of your hand, very narrow design, Ethernet, your power, your 3.5 millimeter audio jack, your HDMI out, your digital audio. Side here we have our micro SD card for our games. Of course, you pop that out and actually dual boots into the Android operating system. So if you want to do Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, that sort of thing, or play Android games, you'll pop this card out and then you'll go through the native Android operating system and play it how you see fit. We've got a USB 3.0 and a USB 2.0, and that's it as far as ports and connections. This is the Hyperbase Retro Monster, which is kind of a quirky name, but you know, they can do what they see fit with their products. Comes with a hard shell carrying case, pretty much standard these days with all these Amazon emulation consoles. You got PlayStation 2 knockoff controllers. They're battery powered and they have a USB wireless dongle that you plug into the device and you have wireless controls. These aren't the worst, they aren't the best. I always tell people just pretty much use your own USB controllers. This also does have Bluetooth capability, so if you want to connect a newer Bluetooth retro gamepad or something like that, you can do that. And that's honestly what I would advise. You get a power brick, no on or off switch, so as long as it's plugged into the wall, this is going to be on all the time. Short HDMI cable, a remote for the Android side of things. You get a user manual. It gives you how to map the controllers, the basic user interface settings, and then how to plug in and set up the included controls that I don't recommend using. So let's go ahead and power it on and check out the user interface. Alright, upon boot up, here is our user interface. As you can see, all the emulator systems have their own subcategorized little folders here. If you hover over it, it'll tell you specifically how many game ROM files are in each folder. So, you know, it gives you an idea of what to expect. Obviously, this thing is going to be a little more heavy on the older systems than it is the newer systems. Since this is slightly outdated chipset, your performance is going to vary. Basically, for Sega Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, Naomi, Atomiswave, Nintendo 64, you'll have a mixed bag of results. You'll have some games that play great, some others that need some emulator tweaks. So if you're looking for right out of the bag, out of the box experience where everything plays magically without having any sort of changes or any sort of customization needing to make those game files run, this is not the system for you. However, if you're looking for an all-in-one system that does all your older handheld consoles, all your old home consoles, so your Super Nintendo, your Sega Genesis, TurboGrafx, that sort of thing, then you'll have a great experience. But if you're looking for the more robust 3D games, then this is definitely not the system for you. There's a lot of these hack folders, so they got NES hacks, Super Nintendo hacks, Sega Genesis hacks, Game Gear hacks. These are just modified ROM files that may or may not have been customized for good or worse. Some of them are interesting, some of them are absolutely terrible. But as far as user interface and everything, everything's well organized. There's not a lot of crazy duplicate files. You select your folder, find a game, gives you a brief little description of the game, as well as, you know, some nice little poster art here. You can change individual game settings by picking whatever game you want. Long pressing the A button brings up your advanced game options. You go down, you'll select it. This way you can change the emulator, so if you find a game that's not performing well, you can come in here and kind of tweak and choose a different emulator and see if that gives you better performance results. You can also change the aspect ratio globally or by individual game. So if you wanted a game to run 16:9 and another game to run 4:3, or if you wanted to change, you know, the resolution, as you can see, it kind of maxes out at 1080p 60 frames per second. But you have all these options. You can also turn on or off the bezels. So if you don't like the graphical bezels that, you know, kill that dead space on those 4:3 games that are running on a widescreen monitor, this is where you go to do that. You're on the main menu, you hit start, brings up Main menu, you go down, you got your user interface settings, your game settings, your controller settings. So if you want to add another map controller, this does have Bluetooth capabilities, so you can plug in pretty much any USB controller and map it accordingly, and pair it a Bluetooth controller so you can do wireless as well. Come in here, you can change the theme. Game settings, like I said, this is where you do your global changes. You can change the aspect ratio, turn off and off the bezels, whatever you see fit. Most of you have already seen the EmuELEC front end settings, so I'm not going to spend any more time on it. If you need a deeper dive, check out my older videos, because a lot of the systems that I've reviewed have the same kind of front end. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get straight to the gameplay. That way you can see how this performs.
This victory, you win! Battle 2, fight!
Here's the draw. Clobbered by Bong. From the top of the ring. Bong. Deflected by Yule. Hall. Deflected. Over to Dave. Quick save and a beauty.
To the right corner, to the right side, steps back and shoots. Hayward snatches the offensive rebound, misses the layup. The pass to Kidd, picked off by Martin. To Brooks. To the right, down it goes. Nice finger roll.
So, pros on this device, all the categorized folders, the games, everything like that is easy to navigate, easy to find. There's not a lot of unnecessary files on there, so it's very straightforward with the amount of games on there. There's no false listing of 100,000 games and you get into the system and it's 100,000 duplicate games. None of that's going on in this system, which is great. Unfortunately, this is just kind of more of the same old that's already been out there in the market for about 2 years now. It's not going to play anything new that other systems haven't already been playing for the last several years. Basically Dreamcast, PlayStation Portable, some Nintendo 64, some of the Sega Naomi, Atomiswave games. It's going to be a mixed bag. You'll have to do some emulator settings, tweaks to get those to play right, and then some of them still won't play right. So if you're looking for those more advanced, newer 3D model-based games, this is not the system for you. So keep that in mind. That does it for this video review. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit that like button. Share this video with your friends if you found the information helpful. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. This really means a lot.